Welcome to Whippoorwill Holler. I'm Miss Lori and this is Mr. Brown. We live in the hills of Arkansas. We love the Lord. Keepers of the old way, but accept some of the new. We love to cook and we love to eat. We love to garden. It's in our blood. It's how we stay sustainable and fill our pantry. We do a lot of canning and preserving. We live a sustainable life. We love our family. We work hard. And every once in a while, we like to dance. So y'all join us. Cooking, gardening, and friendship is what it's all about. We just got back from our morning walk. We've been walking about a mile in the mornings, and I'm making us some breakfast, or you might call it a brunch. And it's just a few fried potatoes with some bacon. And I even got some Spam in here. Yes, sometimes we eat fried Spam, but not very often because we really like it. And we've got some onions in here, some bell peppers, and I'm just frying it all up, a little bit of salt and pepper, a little bit of garlic, and I'm fixing to put some fried eggs on top. That's going to be our breakfast. There it is. That's our breakfast. Maybe it'll get us through till supper time. So we got a lot to do today, y'all. Here in front of the greenhouse. It is such a beautiful day today. And we're taking advantage of it too. Sun's shining. The wind's there's just a little bit of a breeze, and it's supposed to be getting in the lower 70s today, so I can tell y'all that is my kind of weather, and it just really, I don't know, it just brings me back to life, I think. This right here is the outside garden where we plant the potatoes and tomatoes and all that stuff, and Mr. Brown's fixing to get the tiller out, and we got a lot of tilling to do. And we're going to bring some compost in to put in with that and till it in because we're fixing to plant our potatoes. We don't plant our potatoes as early as a lot of people do because we know in our area, living where we live, that a lot of times you'll plant them in February and even the beginning of March. I mean, we can get a lot of rain in March, and of course in April too. But our potatoes seem to do better if we just hang off just a little bit, and we won't get as many to rot underground, and they just seem to thrive better, especially when the soil is a little bit warmer than putting them in there, trying to stuff them in frozen cold soil. So if you haven't planted your potatoes yet, you're okay. In fact, if you have a long growing season like we do in Arkansas, you can actually grow potatoes twice a year. You can grow potatoes going into the fall, plumb up till frost, and leave them in the ground. Back in the old days, that's the way they kept a lot of their potatoes. They would just leave them in the ground, maybe cover it up with straw or something like that, or leaves, and they just go out and dig them when they needed them. But anyways, so in the greenhouse, it's a mess, y'all. It is one big mess, but I have been in there making a little bit of progress. I'm sweating out here, and my hair's just a little bit wonky today. Hank hears me talking. He thinks I'm talking to him. You better lay down, Hank, in the shade. You're gonna get hot. But anyways, so I've been in the greenhouse and I planted my tomato seeds and my tomatillos. I'm going to plant my pumpkins, get them started, my celery, different kinds of flowers and stuff. So I'm kind of getting started on that, get them a head start anyways. The only thing that I'm probably not going to plant this year, start in my greenhouse, and that is cabbage. I should have planted them or started my seeds in January because I like for my cabbage to start off in the cool weather because they just do better. That's why I really like my cabbage to go into the fall and to the winter. It's just better cabbage and they thrive better. But what I'm going to do is I like to support our local nurseries. And so I think I'll just go and find me several cabbage plants. So I won't be starting the seeds on them this year. But I've got plenty of cabbage seeds. But anyways, so that's probably the only thing that I'll buy. Unless I find something I just think I gotta have. But anyways, that's what we're doing. He had to go get some gas, and for the tiller, I've been messing around planting these seeds, and I planted a few more onion sets. So I think I've got plenty of onions. Of course, I planted most of my onions back in the fall. Y'all see me do that. And my garlic, I planted it in the fall, so it's doing really, really well right now. Especially today, it's really soaking up this sunshine, y'all. I'm sitting out here in my granny chair right now. You wouldn't believe how hot it got inside that greenhouse today. But I've been in there. I need to clean it up, but right now I'm trying to get my seeds started. So we're not done with our picket fence around the cottage garden yet, but he's still working on it. The Mennonites are building me an archway to come into the cottage garden, so we're waiting on that so we can finish it up. But today we're focused on getting the garden tilled up so we can get the compost in there and get the compost tilled under too, and then we'll be planting our potatoes. So it's just one of them days that I tried to get as much done in the house. You know, I cooked us after we walked this morning. I come in and Danny drank some coffee, and I cooked us more of a brunch than a breakfast, and it was really good. But we're just gonna get done what we can today. So what are y'all planting this year? Are you cutting back? Are you planting more? Are you doing something a little bit different? Are you planting some different tomatoes? Just let us know down in the comments, and give us all some different ideas. I usually tend to stick with certain tomatoes, and I know what does good here on my hill, but each year sometimes I'll just trade out and do something a little bit different. Just as long as I've got a good juicy tomato, that's all that matters. Hank likes to be wherever I'm at. He finally found him a little bit of shade. Getting pretty hot out here in the sun. I'm going to be making a Mississippi mud cake today, and I thought I'd just bring y'all along with me. I've had some requests in the past for a Mississippi mud cake and a Texas sheet cake, and I do have a video for making Texas sheet cake for two, and that's in my Cooking for Two playlist, and I think it's even in my cake playlist, and it went over really well because it makes just enough of a Texas sheet cake, which we absolutely love, for, you know, for two people, and then maybe a few pieces left over, and it's so good with ice cream. But anyways, I'm wanting to make a cake today, and so I hadn't made this in a long time. So I'm going to just go through all the ingredients. We're going to mix it up, get it in the oven, and then we'll make our icing that goes with it. I have not had this cake in several years. And you know, back when we were having so many potlucks for reunions and family get-togethers and holidays, back in the day, this was always one of them cakes that was always there. So, you know, I kind of miss this cake. This recipe makes a 9 by 13 cake. If you hear something in the background, it's my bread machine. I needed to get a loaf of bread made this morning, and I waited too late. So I'm just making it in my bread machine today, because once I get all my ingredients in there, it does all the work for me. I ain't got to worry about it. Mr. Brown's outside finishing up bringing compost into the garden. We did get the potatoes planted yesterday afternoon. So that's done. And, you know, we have several garden videos. All you have to do is go to our garden playlist, and it shows you how we plant and take care of our potatoes, and even Mr. Brown digging them up and all that stuff. So we always have those kind of videos. You just have to go to the playlist and find them. But anyways, it was hard for us to video the whole thing of planting potatoes last night because, number one, we're old, we were tired, and by the time that we cleaned the area up and just got it ready to even plant, and he tilled, and of course, you know, you have to do all this other stuff to amend your soil and stuff, and so by the time we, you know, we're doing all that, I didn't have time to set up and really video all of it. So, but like I said, we do have videos out there planting potatoes. So let's get started. Mississippi mud cake. I've got 2 cups of all-purpose flour in my mixer, and I've got 1.5 cups of sugar. I got 1/2 cup of packed brown sugar. We had such a beautiful day yesterday. I just enjoyed it, even though it wore me out planting them potatoes and working in the garden. It did, because I'm always this way at the beginning of garden season, because my back and everything is so out of shape. And so it gets me where I have to get going again. I've got 3/4 cup of baking cocoa, and I'll have this recipe down below in my information box. 3/4 cup of baking cocoa. Let's see, I need to look at my recipe. I think it's 2 teaspoons of baking powder. I need 1.5 teaspoons of baking soda. It's a beautiful day out there today too. I've got to get busy getting this cake made, and I've got to get some stuff going for Danny to take to his mama's for supper tonight, because this is his day that he goes and takes care of his mom. Okay, how much salt do I need? 3/4 teaspoon of salt. So what I'm doing is just putting all my dry ingredients together. I've got my salt, baking soda, baking powder, cocoa powder, sugar, and flour. So I'm just going to mix this up a little bit and get it going. Have y'all started planting your garden yet? If you have, leave in the comments what you're planting already and where you live. because so many of us live in different zones that, you know, some of us have to wait quite a while to plant, and some of us that are in more of the southern states can go ahead and start planting. But here in Arkansas, you never know. You never know what from day to day, I'm telling you. But I have learned, me and Mr. Brown have learned through the years of planting a garden, that you just patiently wait, because we could get a snow in March, and we've even had snow at the very beginning of April before, and it get really cold. Now that's not happened in a while. So I got all my dry ingredients mixed up. So now we need 3/4 cup of oil, and I'm using my avocado oil because that's just what I've been using anymore when I'm baking, is avocado. I keep coconut oil, I keep olive oil, of course, and then avocado oil. And then I've got lard that I keep in the refrigerator. Now there are some recipes that I will use store-bought shortening in. There's just a couple of things, and that's because they just come out better made with that. So 3/4 cup of oil. I need 2 eggs. 6 tablespoons of milk. And y'all have noticed that I've got my KitchenAid back out. This thing is, I was trying to think. I believe that this KitchenAid is 16, it's either 16 or 17 years old, and it still works. It's just one of them old ones that was white. I don't even know if they had different colors back then. It had the metal bowl, but since then I've bought me a glass bowl to go with it. And it looks rough, it ain't real pretty, but let me tell you something, it still works. Okay, 6 tablespoons of milk. Then I need 1/3 cup of sour cream. Sour cream always makes cake recipes so good. So once you put your oil in there and your sour cream, you've got a really moist cake. Okay, let me read my ingredients one more time. I've got them down. I've got it down here on my computer. I've got the recipe in so many of my cookbooks, but I was already on my computer, so I just looked it up. That's my bread machine telling me it's going to its next, probably to its rise. Okay, I got my flour, my sugar, my brown sugar, my cocoa powder, baking soda, salt. I've got my oil, my 2 eggs, milk, sour cream. Okay, all I like is my vanilla, and in this recipe you have to put in 1 cup of boiling water, so I'll have to get that in just a minute. Now, I'm not going to be using my homemade vanilla on this. I'm going to be using my bakery emulsion. I just think it gives cakes a really good taste, especially frostings. So that's what I'm going to be using in this cake. This is a butter vanilla bakery emulsion, and you can find this in any bakery shop. You can find this even at Walmart, over where all the cake making stuff is. You can buy it online, whichever. I don't use it a lot, but a lot of times when I'm making a cake, I will. Okay, so we got all that. All we need, I'm gonna go ahead and mix this just a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna turn this back on, and while this is mixing, I'm gonna slowly pour in 1 cup of hot boiling water. And you want to do this on low speed. Okay, I'm going to turn that off and I'm going to scrape down the sides. And it's going to be a pretty loose batter. It's not going to be a real thick cake batter. Now this is a little bit different than the Texas sheet cake, because in my Texas sheet cake you put a little bit of coffee in there. Or you can, if you got some instant espresso granules, you can put that in there. That just makes your chocolate just taste so good and just really up the level of your chocolate. So I'm just kind of getting some of that flour off the bottom. I really like my glass bowl. When I got it off of Amazon to replace my metal one that I've had so many years. And I'll put that link down below in my information if you're interested in it. I really do like it. It's got a really big spout over here, and it fits my old 6-quart. I'll have to, now you'll have to go by the numbers. I had to look up the numbers and make sure that it was going to fit, but it did. Okay, I'm just going to turn this up now and let it mix pretty good. Now that I got my hot water in there, I've got my 9 by 13 baking pan ready, and I'll show that to you in just a minute. Got my oven at 350. Okay, I've got my 9 by 13 dish pan, and I've got it buttered. This cake rises. It really rises. So you can't do this cake like you do a Texas sheet cake in a sheet pan. You have to do it in a baking dish like this. That's got at least 2 to 4 inches on each side. That batter tastes so good. I haven't been using my KitchenAid for quite a while because, well, for one thing, I don't have a lot of countertops, so I would keep it underneath and then I just wouldn't use it. I just get my hand mixer out or mix it by hand, or I'd use my Nutrimil Artiste because I've always got it out, either making bread or cookies or something. Okay, this is a very loose batter. Now, we're going to bake this in a 350 oven. And I'm going to put my timer for 20 minutes. And then if it's not done, I'm going to turn my dish in the oven and bake it, you know, however long, 5 or 10 minutes. My oven is so different than a lot of different ovens. So you just need to watch your cake. Like I said, check it 20 minutes. You may have to give it a couple more minutes if it's not done all the way in the middle. Because just as soon as it's done and you get it out while it's hot, you're going to put your marshmallows on top while it's still hot, so the marshmallows will melt on top of your cake. And then you'll stick it back in the oven for about 3 to 5 minutes to continue, you know, getting those marshmallows melted. Then you'll take it out, let your cake cool, and then you'll put your frosting on. And it is a cooked frosting, and we'll be doing that next. This is one of my favorite all-time cakes. So this will be a good one for you to take to potluck for Easter. Our cake's out of the oven. It's still really hot. So we're going to take 10 ounces of marshmallows. We're just going to pour them on top and just kind of spread them around. They're going to start to melt a little bit, but we're going to stick them right back in the oven. Make sure my oven's still on. I think I turned it off. But we're going to stick it back in here for another 3 to 5 minutes to really get them melted. And then we'll kind of spread them around. And then we got to let our cake cool completely, but we're going to be making our frosting to go on top, and it's a cooked frosting. And it's going to be like a fudge frosting. Okay, we're going to get our cake out. Now, this cake, it took a good 40 minutes before I put the marshmallows on. I forgot to tell y'all that. Okay, we're going to check it again because my marshmallows weren't melted enough. But, yeah, the cake part, it had to cook a good 40 minutes. And see now, but the marshmallows just took about 5 minutes for them to melt. And you can kind of spread it around if you want to. But now that the cake is hot, the marshmallows are melted, we're going to have to let this cool completely before we pour our fudge frosting over the top. So I'm not in a real big hurry to get my frosting made up yet because I want this to completely cool. Because what happens is it's a fudge frosting and that frosting has to set up. So if everything's still hot when we pour that on there, it's not going to do right. Okay, for our frosting, we've got a stick of butter that I melted. We got 6 tablespoons of milk. You can use evaporated milk. And I've got 3 heaping tablespoons of baking cocoa. Heaping means just your tablespoon is just overly mounded up with cocoa powder. That's a heaping tablespoon. So you need 3 of those. We're going to heat this up. Let it come to a boil. We're going to let it boil for about 2 to 3 minutes. Then after that, we'll take it off the heat. We'll add the vanilla, and we'll add the powdered sugar, and we'll use an electric mixer to mix it up really smooth. Okay, it's off the heat. I let it just kind of boil for about 3 minutes, and I kept stirring it the whole time. And I'm going to put a teaspoon of vanilla and 3 cups of powdered sugar. And we're going to blend this with a hand mixer. Okay, you see how pretty that is? Now this is going to sit up like fudge on top of your cake. So you want to get this on top of your cake while it's still warm, but your cake has to be cooled off before you do this. Cake cooled, but frosting hot. Now, I have a confession to make. I am starting to believe that this is not a true 9 by 13 baking dish. So make sure you got a true 9 by 13 baking dish. This says it is, but I really don't think it is. But anyways, I bake in it all the time. So we're going to take our frosting while it's still hot. And like I said, your cake has to be cool, but your frosting hot. And this is going to sit up like fudge on top of your cake. And because The cake batter is so loose. It's not a real thick cake batter. The middle tends to want to kind of sink in, and that's what happens. You can see this is already starting to set up. So I'm going to try to get it spread. The marshmallows, you have to let them cool off the cake before you do this, or you'll have marshmallow all over the place too. So just smooth this out the best you can to the sides. And if you get some marshmallow in there, it's not going to hurt nothing. This is your Mississippi mud cake. And if you want to, you can spread some pecans on top of this. I'm not going to because my grandkids don't like nuts very well, so some of this will be going to them. So you just spread that over the top. You don't have to be pretty. It usually is not pretty when you get it done. It's not a real pretty dessert, but it tastes so good. So I'm going to spread that to the edge as much as I can. Then since I let my cake cool off, I will be putting this back in the refrigerator and letting this set up, because it's going to set up like fudge, like a piece of fudge. And then we'll cut into it and try a piece. So there you go, Mississippi mud cake. Looks like mud, don't it? It's not a very pretty cake, but it tastes so good. So we'll be back when I get this good and cooled off. Oh my goodness, y'all, here it is. After the frosting has set up a little bit, I got me a big old piece of it. You see that marshmallow underneath that frosting, that wonderful cake, and I got me a glass of milk, and I am fixing to sit down. I'm fixing to eat me a piece of Mississippi mud cake while I'm sitting here filling book orders. It's absolutely delicious. Mississippi mud cake. Okay, I'm going to share some of my gardening books with y'all. A lot of y'all have asked me if I would do that, and I can tell you I have got so many gardening books. So we're going to start here, and I'll just keep bringing some in. There's probably some in my bookcases that I can't get to right now. I'm sure I'd have to go through all them, but I'm just going to show you some of them that I can get to right now. And of course, we're going to start with Tasha Tudor. Any of her books are my favorites. So I have a lot of her gardening books. This is just this is a biography about Tasha Tudor that I think I got off Thrift Books. I can't remember. This one here is a huge book. Now, some of these books y'all have gifted to me, but most of them I either got off Thrift Books or I got at a flea market. Now, there may be a couple brand new ones that I had ordered, but I've not ordered any gardening books in so long. This book here is full of just so much information, and I love anything that talks a lot about perennials. But it's just full of anything you need to know. And it's called Treasury of Gardening. Annuals, perennials, vegetables and herbs, landscape design, and specialty gardens. So pretty much anything you probably need to know is in this book. And this is one you can sit down and just spend a couple days just looking through it. And it's a pretty book too. Here's another one, Tasha Tudor's Garden. One of my favorites. I know I've had some people comment on some video that I had done talking about Tasha Tudor, and there's some people that don't know who Tasha Tudor is. So look her up, read her biography, and just look at how beautiful her gardens are and the way that she decided to live, which was a very simple life, and not worldly. And she just done everything the old way, and she even dressed that way too. And she lived that way till she passed away. So this is one of my favorite books. You can get this, you could get this on Amazon, but I would look on thrift books and different places like that. This one is Gardening Made Easy, and I can't remember if I got this at a flea market or if somebody, I'm pretty sure I got it at a flea market. And when I pick up books at flea markets, it has to be really something special for me to give over $5 for a book. It's usually 2 or 3 or even less than that. But this is Gardening Made Easy. And it's just one of them, another book that you can just sit down and just look at and read through it. And it's just a nice book. And it's got everything in there that you need to know. Whether if you're growing in early spring or late fall. Talks about drought resistant gardens and low maintenance to beautiful gardens and all the different flowers, whether if it's annuals or if it's perennials. This is a Old Better Homes and Garden Complete Guide to Gardening. This is you talk about a lot of information in here. Anything you probably need to know about soil, seeds, how to plant it, when to plant it, everything is in this book. So it's a really good book too. You might be able to find some of these books on eBay too. This one is Award-winning Small Space Gardens, and I know a lot of y'all don't have a lot of space. I can't remember, somebody may have gifted me this book. So it's just for small spaces, because you can garden in a very small place. So these kind of books like this are very interesting. This one here is Southern Herb Growing by Madeline Hill and Gwen Barclay with Jean Hardy. This is a very nice book, especially if you're one like me that loves to grow herbs, and it's got a lot of information in there, a lot of pretty pictures in there too. It's just one of them books that's so fun to look through because of the beautiful pictures, and it has even recipes in there from the different herbs that you grow in your garden. There's nothing that tastes any better than when you're growing all them different herbs and you go in to make you some salad dressing for a big salad. Maybe you've picked some greens from the garden and some tomatoes and stuff like that, and you use some of your fresh herbs to make you a vinaigrette or a homemade ranch dressing or anything like that. It's so good. This one here is Gardening Essentials from the National Home Gardening Club. I don't know that I've even got to sit down and look through this book yet. I need to do that pretty soon. This looks like a really nice book. It's not a real big book, but some of y'all may already have this book. Looks very interesting though, doesn't it? Gardening Essentials. And here's a pretty good sized book here. Gardening Success, a comprehensive step-by-step guide to creating and maintaining the perfect garden. this goes into a lot of details of soil and plants and seeds and everything you can think of is in this book right here. Gardening Success. Let me see. It's by Peter McCoy, MCHOY, with Susan Berry and Steve Bradley. Very, very good book. Like I said, if you go to thrift books, you can find a lot of these. Or eBay or even Etsy sometimes. Yeah, this book has, it even has like if you're making some kind of a little pond or something in your garden, it tells you about the moisture loving plants that you can put in your little pond or in your fountain or something like that loves a lot of water. So that's a really, really interesting book. So that was just a handful. Let me go get some more. Okay, I found some more books. This one is a huge one again. And got this at a flea market. Pretty sure, I don't think anybody sent this to me. Because it's got a $5 thing on it. So I'm thinking I must have got this at a flea market. This is a Gardener's Home Companion, How to Raise and Propagate More Than 350 Flowers, Herbs, Vegetables, Berries, Shrubs, Vines, and Lawn and Ornament Grasses. The names on here are Betty Mackey, Ann Riley, Barbara Radcliffe, Rogers, Barbara Pleasant, Diane Bilderback, and Bob Brooke. Look how thick that thing is. A lot of information in here. Let's see. Another one. This one was sent to me. And it's got all the real science names to all the plants, which most of the time I can't even pronounce. So it's a real good book to have. This is a complete encyclopedia of more than 5,000 southern plants. The Southern Living Garden Book. So I would say that's a really good one to have. It says the first comprehensive gardening encyclopedia dedicated to the South. So it has your Southern native and heritage plants, practical hints, tips, and old-fashioned wisdom from your Southern gardener. That's a good one. This book was gifted to me, and I keep this book out all the time. It's like a garden devotional is what it is, and it was gifted to me a few years ago. Y'all have heard me say more than once how gardening to me is not just about, it is about the vegetables and feeding your family and stuff like that, but there's a lot more to it than that for me. It gives me peace, and it's just, brings you back down to the earth where you started from, and I just thank the good Lord, He means for it to be that way. The garden should be a place of peace and prosperity and just bring you closer to Him. So this is called In God's Garden by Joyce Sackett. It's got gardening tips in each devotional entry. It says, digging deeper. What will you do today to get closer to the Lord, to love, reverence, and praise Him? What is your favorite way to spend time with the Lord? How have your times with the Lord affected your life? And it has a prayer here. It says, "Oh Lord, in me the longing to be closer to you. Cause me to set my heart and my mind on knowing you better. I thank you that you desire intimacy with me. Cleanse my heart so that I can enjoy your holy presence in my life. And then on the other side, it'll give you garden tips. So you get devotionals, prayers, and garden tips in God's garden. This was a book I picked up in a flea market. I think I've showed y'all this before. And I'm pretty sure that I think you can get this. In fact, I think I had some people last time I talked about this book say that they found it at thriftbooks.com. But this is the Victorian Kitchen Garden. Now I want you to look how pretty this book is. It's a real pretty book. It's one of them books that you want to put out on your table, or if you still use a coffee table, because people will see that and their eyes going to catch this book and they're going to want to pick it up and look at it. It has some of the prettiest vintage pictures in here for each month of the year. And it'll talk, it'll give stories, it'll talk about, you know, the victory garden. It'll give you advice for that month. And it also has a place for each month that you can journal if you wanted to. I think that's the reason a lot of y'all wanted this book, because of how pretty it was. And it's like a journal, and you can, you know, like maybe you found the perfect plant that you just love, or seed, and you can write it in here in your book. But isn't that pretty? It's a really neat book. I really love this thing. I haven't journaled in it yet. I guess because half the time I get so busy during garden season I don't think about it. What I need to do is take this out to my greenhouse. Keep a pen with it. That way I can remember to write stuff down in here. It's one of my favorite books too. This one right here says place that plant, and this is a little this is like a little dictionary by Francis Whelan. What plant where according to site and soil. And that's a lot of things, you know, we need to know this stuff, because that's just like up here where we live. It's rock and it's clay. So of course a lot of times you have to amend. You know, we've had to do a lot of mending in our garden. We can't just plant in that clay rock garden. You know, we've had to bring compost in and just amend it really good over the years to get anything to grow in it. But this shows you all the different, and this flowers, shrubs, plants, what kind of soil they need, you know, what kind of fertilizer, how to take care of them, where you can plant them, where you cannot plant them. You know, we're in zone 7B, and so I always have to look for plants and flowers and shrubs that I know will do good in our zone. Berries and just different things. So this is a good book to have. Carry it around, you know, if you're going to nurseries and stuff like that, carry one of these little books around with you. That way, when you find something you're not sure about it, you can look it up in this little book. Place that plant. It's a good one. Let's see. This is Better Homes and Gardens Step by Step, Yard and Garden Basics. It's just another one of them, shows you how to set up a pretty garden, you know, and you can do them things. It shows you how to test your soil and how to amend it and how to take care of your lawns. If y'all live in town, you have lawns, or even out in the country, a lot of people have lawns. We don't have a lawn here. Danny does mow a little bit, but it's not what you call a lawn. It's just grass growing where it don't need to. But there's a lot of good information in here too, plumb up to your vegetable plants. So you might be able to find this on Thrift Book, Step by Step Yard and Garden Basics. It's a good one. It's good for even somebody that's just maybe starting the garden. It's a good book. And my herb book. This is by Arabella Boxer and Philippia Back. And I got this at a flea market. Let's see. This even has recipes in it. So a lot of these herb books like this will have recipes using your own homegrown herbs. The herb book. And it has real nice pretty pictures in it. And then it shows you all the different herbs, how to use them, what they're good for. And then in the back, it'll have recipes to use all these different herbs. So I think that's pretty neat. This is a very nice book to have. The herb book. Look on Thrift Books and see if they've got it. Now, I know there's more. I'm just not going to dig anymore, but I did find some of these magazines. Do y'all like magazines like I do? And I don't buy them like I used to. They've gotten so expensive. But this is some that I used to buy. And sometimes you'll find these at flea markets for 50 cents, $1, or something like that. And I do like going through them. And I'll look through these every spring. And this is one of my favorite ones. I don't know if you can see that very good, but you see the little shed and the garden path and just how they've got it all rearranged. It's really pretty. Country Gardens. This is Organic Life. It's just some magazines that I used to get. This was sent to me. This is The Science and Art of Herbology. And this is really nice. This has got some of your, it's by Rosemary Gladstar. And it's got she talks about your medicinal herbs and stuff. So it's a really nice one. She's from Science and Art of Herbalism Homework, P.O. Box 572, Waitsfield, Vermont. I don't know if you can still get this or not. But anyways, it was gifted to me, and it's a good one too. So that's just, well, that's probably most of my books, but there's some still that I'm not going to dig out because I know there's a bunch of them in there. One of these days, I guess I'm going to have a big book sale. Probably the best thing for me to do. I've went through them one time, maybe a couple of times, and I even had a yard sale a few years ago, and a couple of y'all even come to my yard sale. And I had so many cookbooks at that yard sale that there was a couple that come and bought armloads of them and even jewed me down on them because they were going to resell them too. So that was okay. I didn't care. I just, I think what I'll do with some of them too, I may take them to the library and they can use them in there and people can check them out because they're really good books still. But anyways, I just want to share that with y'all. And because y'all know how much I love my garden. And I know y'all do too. So whenever I'm in a flea market and one of these gardening books just catches my eye, I don't know. I just have to get it if it's not, if it's got a good price on it especially. I don't know if I'll ever get to look through every one of them page per page. Probably not. But a lot of them are very, very informative. And you can learn a lot from them. Well, my cherry tree's trying to bloom. And there's a beautiful cardinal sitting in it. It's just the simple things.